Well, 2018 is drawing to a close, but 2019 is right around the corner, so that means another new year of video game releases. I've been playing games for over 3 decades. I've been here for a while, and I've seen some years that were better than others. Some years had some phenomenal releases. Other years were just completely disappointing or just had nothing of interest at all for me personally. And with that being said, 2019 is wrapping up to be, or shaping up to be, one of the best years of video games in my life, and that's saying a lot. There's a lot of games that a lot of people are really excited about, a lot of games that people get so excited to think about playing, but I'm not like most people. I don't like playing a lot of games that most of the people just absolutely love. I was never a Grand Theft Auto kind of guy. I never really got into the series. Red Dead Redemption is another game that everybody seems to love. Fallout. I'm glad that people enjoy those games. I don't share their excitement. With that being said, here are 6 games that I am personally excited to play in 2019. It could be that these games turn out to be fully amazing experiences, or it could be that they're just complete disappointments and, hype wasted. But we'll see. Number 6 on the list is Team Sonic Racing. So this actually made the list just barely because it was recently delayed. It was originally supposed to come out in December of 2018, this year, but unfortunately it was delayed until next year, May to be exact. So I am excited to play Team Sonic Racing after the huge disappointment that was the Nickelodeon kart racers. If you wanted to see my opinion, you can watch my previous video where I kind of laid it all out. Needless to say, it's not worth $40. It's not the kart racer that we were looking for. It's not the one we deserve. So hopefully this Team Sonic Racing will give Mario Kart a run for its money, because the last one that they made, which was the Sonic Racing Transformed, was pretty good. I had some problems with it in that it was only 30 frames per second. I'm really hoping that Team Sonic Racing takes it up a notch and gives it a full, solid, constant 60 frames per second. There's really no excuse for it to not be 60 frames a second whenever it's running on PS4, on an Xbox One, and PC. It should be a constant 60 frames a second. There's no excuses except for developer laziness. If it ends up being a locked 30 frames per second, I will be disappointed. It might still end up being a good game and fun to play, but I mean, come on, 60 frames a second on a kart racer is a given. That should be a no-brainer on Xbox One, PS4, and PC. The other thing I like about it is that it's strictly a kart racing game. There's no more boat racing on the water or flying in the sky with your little airplane. I personally just like the kart racing aspect. I like doing drifts around the corner, getting those big jumps, and getting the shortcuts and everything like that. I think that the boat racing and the flying from the Transformed series, or the previous entry, Transformed, took away from the experience, and it wasn't as fun. Those sections were not as fun as the regular old kart racing experience. So maybe I'm just old school, but I never really cared for all that stuff to begin with, and kind of made me a little bit upset when Mario Kart went in that direction, but whatever. But yeah, that's number 6 on my list. I'm looking forward to Team Sonic Racing in May. I will be getting it almost undoubtedly on day 1, and I'll be giving you my impressions on that. Number 5 on the list. Doom Eternal. I love Doom. I love all the Dooms. Doom 1, Doom 2, Doom 3, Doom 2016. I love them all. I love all the Doom games. They're all incredible. Doom Eternal seems to be kind of like what the original Doom was to the Doom remake, if that makes sense. So Doom Eternal is kind of like a remake of Doom 2, where hell breaches Earth, and there's demons on Earth, and they kind of screw up all the buildings and take this contemporary world and make it all demonic and stuff like that. So it's the same badassery that you saw in the first one, where you're just running around and just destroying demons with your bare fists. I mean, what more could you want? So it's more of the same gameplay, except there's more executions, more enemies, more weapons, more levels, just more of everything. So that's not a bad thing. What I'm really hoping that they do is upgrade Snap Map, because Snap Map on the original Doom, that was the one thing I was looking forward to the most, because before that game came out, I was just like dreaming of these maps I could build. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be so awesome. I have these great plans for maps I could build, these great levels. And when the game came out, I was just like, what? They were like toddler building blocks for map editors. You had these pre-built rooms that you can adjust certain things about them, like you can put weapons or monsters and change the behavior of those monsters and how they react. But I mean, it's just such a disappointment. I mean, for someone that wants to really go to the next level and make things, yeah, sure, it takes longer than putting a bunch of pre-made levels together to make your own from scratch, but I mean, the end result will be so much more fulfilling and better. I actually used to build maps on the original Doom and Doom 2 on PC. I made primarily deathmatch maps because it was basically just myself, my brothers, and my friends all playing and get together on a local network on the maps that I built. So it was just basically like deathmatch maps is what I'm used to building. But I could pretty much build whatever. And I was used to it. It was great because I had basically the full editor, the same editor that the developers used to create the game levels is the same level editor that we had access to. So there was no like, oh, well, they have access to all these cool textures and layouts and stuff like that. No, everybody was on a level playing field. So if you were willing to put in the time to learn it and you had a good imagination, you could make whatever you wanted. And you could create content that rivaled what came into the game originally. So that's what I loved about the original Doom, and that was what I was most disappointed about the original Doom for 2016. So Doom Eternal looks great. The single player campaign looks phenomenal. Of course, graphics. We got Mick Gordon back on the music, so he's once again the music composer. That's going to be incredible. One thing I liked about Doom, the original Doom, was the music was great, and the new Doom actually didn't fail on that either, because Mick Gordon is like a living legend when it comes to video game composition. He did Killer Instinct and Wolfenstein: The New Order, I believe. He's just so good. Like wow. Just go buy his stuff. His stuff is on iTunes. All of his video game compositions are on iTunes, and I'm sure Amazon Music. Just go buy it, please. You won't be disappointed. Next on the list. We've got Resident Evil 2, and don't call it a remaster because Capcom might find you and hurt you. It's not a remaster. It's not even a remake. It's more of a reimagining. That's kind of what they described it as. It's a reimagining. So when you play through Resident Evil 2 for the first time on the original PlayStation, you're going to be getting the jump scares. You're going to feel the tension and all that stuff, and of course, you have the sound and the graphics. Like for the time, it was up there. It was like top of the world. And so Capcom wanted to take what players experienced when they first played Resident Evil 2 back in the day and bring it back. So it's not going to be a one-to-one remake with the same layout, same everything, just like higher textures and polygon models. That wouldn't cut it. So Capcom, they really worked their magic. The technical wizards over there and Capcom created a game that looks probably better than any game I've ever seen in my life. Like, holy crap, this game looks as close to photorealistic as you could possibly get. I don't even know if it's possible to get more realistic, and every time I say that, I get proven wrong. So Resident Evil 2 is coming out in January of 2019, so it's going to really start the year off with something special. So I played through the original Resident Evil 2, ironically, on Nintendo 64. That was actually the first time that I played through the game myself. I watched my friend play it on PlayStation for the most part, but the first time I personally played it was on Nintendo 64 using the expansion pack, so I got the higher resolution graphics, and I thought I was just like, man, it doesn't get any better than this. So I'm really looking forward to Resident Evil 2, and the graphics just look amazing. They use the same engine as Resident Evil 7, the what's it called, the Res engine or something like that? I can't remember. It's a custom engine made by Capcom, and it looks incredible. It looks friggin' phenomenal. The lighting, it looks so realistic. The textures, the facial animations, like, holy crap, man. Every time I see this game, I'm trying to avoid watching as many trailers and gameplay footage as I possibly can, because I want to make it as fresh as possible. And man, when I catch glimpses of these trailers, it just blows my mind. It looks so good. And I was really impressed by Resident Evil 7. I thought that game was phenomenal as well. A lot of people hate on it because, oh, it's not Resident Evil because it doesn't have zombies, and it doesn't have the third-person camera. It's like, really, Resident Evil 2 is going to be incredible, and Resident Evil 7, for what it's worth, I thought was one of the best horror games I've played probably in the last 10 years or ever. It was really good. It was really, 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 really good. And with that being said, Resident Evil 2 is going to knock the wind out of everybody. It's going to be so good. I feel it's going to get a 9 out of 10, just across the board, across reviews and user reviews and everything like that. So Resident Evil 2, mark it on your calendars. It's going to be a good one. Next on my list is Gears of War 5, or should I say Gears 5. They officially removed the of War out of the title, so it's just Gears 5. But everybody knows what it is. When you're talking about video games and you say the word Gears, it's like, oh yeah, I know what that is. Marcus Phoenix, Chainsaw Guy. Everybody knows what Gears of War is, even if you don't play it. You're familiar with what the concept is. But Gears 5 looks to be really deep in the story part of it. Like, it really is heavily invested in the characters, the new characters from Gears of War 4, like Kate and JD. It's really going to take it up a notch in the story department, I think. Just based on the short trailer we got at E3 back in 2018, so it's not like way back, this year. But in any case, yeah, it looks to be a good story-based game. It looks like something is like the swarm is infecting JD's arm, and he kind of feels this pain. He has to like shoot like something into his arm to kind of suppress the feeling or the pain from his arm. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm sure it'll be explained in the story, but it definitely seems like a kind of a swarm infection, kind of how the remaining locusts got infected with the swarm, and now they're kind of like these zombies of themselves. So that would be interesting. And when you watch the gameplay trailer, you see that the swarm has infected the robots as well. What the heck were they called? The DBs. The DBs, they call them. That's what Baird kind of called them. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting story to play through. I'm really curious to see what happens to all these characters. Oddly enough, Marcus Phoenix actually looks younger in Gears 5 than he did in Gears 4. I don't know what it was. Maybe he just found his mojo again, and he's got his Lancer, so all is good. I just hope that the multiplayer is as good as it has been in Gears 4 and 5. People like to talk crap about Gears 4 all day long because of the loot boxes and all that stuff. And I agree partially. I mean, the loot boxes are kind of annoying because you want to get that special skin for your weapon or a new character or something like that. And I'd much rather be able to unlock that character during the gameplay, like because I hit certain gameplay goals, or if I pay a certain amount, like, okay, you want to buy this character, it costs $199 or whatever. I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly okay with that. With Gears of War 4, they basically made this loot box system where it's like, okay, you can get this character from this loot box, but it's like you have to keep purchasing it over and over and over again using in-game currency and hope that you actually unlock the thing that you're trying to unlock. And not just end with a bunch of skins that you're never going to use for your weapons, and it just gets really annoying and cumbersome. I don't personally like it that much, but I don't think it totally ruined the experience either. So that's my 2 cents on it. Gears 5, I just hope they make the multiplayer as balanced and stable as it is in Gears 4. It's very stable. It's got 60 frames per second whenever you're playing multiplayer. The campaign was 30 frames per second on the original Xbox One, and it's a really good experience. It's very smooth. Very rarely do I have like connection problems where like my opponent's just like jumping all around and teleporting and I can't hit them. So it's a very good, very solid experience, and the weapons for the most part seem very, very balanced. I don't have any particular qualms about any of the weapons. They all seem to be very much on point and very, very balanced. The Lancer is not overpowered. The Gnasher is not overpowered. Every weapon has its place in specific situations. So it's not like you can just run around with the Gnasher and just like own everybody throughout the entire map. This isn't Gears of War 1 anymore, guys. Just like the Lancer, you can just bust it out and just like down everybody with no problem. So every weapon takes a little bit of work, and I think the balancing is pretty much perfect. And I know a lot of people like to hate on Gears of War 4, but I think it's really close to perfection. But Gears of War 5 or Gears 5, is very high on my list, and I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm going to be playing through the campaign. It's a multiplayer, and it's going to be a blast. I cannot wait. Number 2. Everyone knows about this one. Trials Rising. Trials Rising is so good. Like, the beta was so good. Watching other people play the beta, and it's just like so good. It's so smooth. The graphics look incredible. There, you have spectators for the first time when you're riding your bikes. It just looks incredible. It looks like the sequel we deserved from Trials Evolution. Trials Fusion was a great game also, but Trials Evolution really took it up a notch during the time that it was released, because it had everything on day one. It had a ton of content, the graphics were great, improved engine, the editor was fantastic with so many improvements, multiplayer, it had it all. It was a complete package on day one. Fusion was not a complete package on day one. It was like a 15% game, 20% game at most. And then, of course, slowly, over the course of many patches and DLC later, it then became a full game. So, Trials Rising looks to be perfection on day one. From everything that I've seen about it, all the people that have played it and commented on it, this is going to easily be the best Trials game ever made to date. I don't even know how they're going to be able to top this one, to be honest, if it comes out being as good as it looks like it's going to be. So, tons of creator content, tons of possibilities when it comes to the level editor, the track editor, I should say, Track Central, Gear Central, multiplayer, just the single player, regular maps that are built in. It's going to have so much content. I mean, you'll be able to be playing this game. You're probably going to be playing this game for years to come. I'm going to be playing for years to come. And that's the problem with 2019. So many great games are coming out that I'm looking forward to, that it's hard to invest so much time into any one game. I'm going to want to play all of these games on this list, and probably for years to come, just as is. I mean, ridiculous amount of content for all these games. The Trials Rising is going to be incredible. I'm going to be building a bunch of tracks for it. I love building tracks, and I love seeing people's reactions after I put them up, and see people post YouTube videos playing it and commenting on it, and then messaging me on Xbox saying how great it was, or just other feedback or comments like, hey, nice track. It doesn't have to be, super flattering or anything. I mean, I'll take it, but I just love that. It's not so much for the compliments or anything like that. It's basically just to know that my work is being, appreciated by other people. And it's, I know I'm not the greatest track builder of all time. I think I'm pretty good, but there are some ones out there that are just like, wow, how did they do that? Like, I'm playing their tracks and like, holy crap, that's incredible. It must have taken a ton of time. I don't even know how they did it. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to playing Trials and building Trials tracks. It's going to be just an amazing game. It's going to be the best Trials game to date, and the biggest. It's coming out for the Switch as well, which is a first for a Nintendo console. And yeah, it's going to have so much. It's just so much goodness. It's going to be one of the best games ever, man. I'm so looking forward to it. Number 1. Number 1, everybody knows what this one is for me. It's Shenmue 3. Not only is this game going to be just an important, it's the most important video game release for me personally. It's probably the most important video game release ever. I know it's a very bold statement that I'm saying, but the reason why Shenmue 3 is even a thing is because the community was so passionate about it. I've never seen a video game community so rallied behind and so passionate about anything. Like, I mean, I've seen a lot of video game communities be really excited about something and just kind of, just generate a bunch of buzz about certain things. But when it comes to Shenmue, man, these guys, the Shenmue community is on a whole new level with that stuff. It took 17 years, man, to make a third game. It's not even done yet. By the time Shenmue 3 actually comes out, I think it'll be like 18 years between the release. Yeah, 18 years between the North American release of Shenmue 2 and the North American release of Shenmue 3. 18 years! If someone was born on the day that Shenmue 2 was released, they're now going to be legally able to buy cigarettes and vote and go to war. That's a long time, man, for a video game release. I mean, keep the faith. And honestly, this is something I wanted to talk about because the amount of time that it's taken between part 2 and part 3 has kind of put the rest of the series at ease in my mind. I mean, if we can make it past this, if a video game sequel can be made almost 2 decades later, just given all the hurdles that the first 2 games had financially and logistically and statistically, I mean, I can understand why Sega wouldn't want to touch part 3 with a 10-yard pole, but and they're not. They're not touching part 3 with a 10-yard pole. I'm just gonna throw that out there. But I can understand why there would be so many publishers and investors that would shy away from that because the first 2 lost a lot of money. But because this is actually happening, I firmly believe that Shenmue 3 will be a great game. It will not only succeed, but it will be the foundation for the following games. Shenmue 4 and Shenmue 5 will likely use the same engine and the same textures and character models and sounds and stuff like that. I do have another Shenmue-related video planned, but that's for another day. But yeah, that's my number 1. Shenmue 3 is going to be super important. That's going to be the highlight of the year for me when it comes to video games is Shenmue 3. I've been looking forward to this for so long, just like so many others, and I'm really happy to see that all the new players have enjoyed Shenmue 1 and 2, the recent re-release on the Xbox One, PS4, and PC. If you haven't picked those up, please do so. It's only $30. I mean, come on, that's not very much money. I mean, you can just not eat for a couple days if your budget's tight. I mean, whatever, it's all good. But yeah, Shenmue 3 is going to be right around the corner before you guys know it. It's got 9 more months from now, and it'll be in our computers, in our Xbox, not Xboxes. It'll be in our PS4. I'm an Xbox fan, so when I heard that Shenmue 3 was not coming to Xbox, I was a little bit sad. But honestly, I'll take it. I would buy it on anything. Like, hey, it's coming out, but it's going to be out for the Atari Jaguar. I'm like, all right, where can I pick up a Jaguar at? I don't care, man. I just want to play the game. It's all good. But yeah, that is all I got as far as my top 6 games. We got Team Sonic Rising, Doom Eternal, Resident Evil 2, Gears 5, Trials Rising, and Shenmue 3. A couple of titles that I wanted to mention, which were honorable mentions, which I put them on this list because I wasn't really sure if they were coming out in 2019. That's the thing. They don't have a solid release date, but they are games I'm very much looking forward to. Number 1, Streets of Rage 4. Streets of Rage 4. This kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it? Streets of Rage 4. I've loved the first 3 games. I was actually really jealous of my friend who had a Genesis. When I was growing up, my friend had a Sega Genesis. I had a Super Nintendo. We would always argue about which one's better, Genesis, Super NES. Any kid that lived back in the early 90s, they all had the same story. Like, they had the Genesis, the Sega camp, and the Nintendo camp, and they would constantly fight about which one's better. And I was firmly in the Nintendo camp. Like I didn't give Sega a chance. Like, man, these guys aren't good at what they do. They're just terrible. The system sucks. Everything sucks. But secretly, I was really, really jealous because he had Streets of Rage. And I was like, man, I wanted to go to his house and play Streets of Rage. Like, I would just go to hang out with him at his house. I'm like, well, you don't have a Super Nintendo. We'll just play Streets of Rage. It's fine. But it actually is one of the games that I like the most. Streets of Rage 1 and 2 were amazing. Streets of Rage 3, I didn't quite like as much as part 2, but I think it was a good game. It was a very good beat-em-up style game, very solid gameplay. I just love those old style gameplays. But yeah, Streets of Rage 4 came out of nowhere, and I'm very much looking forward to it. I cannot wait until Streets of Rage 4. Regardless of when it comes out or what platform it comes out on, I'm going to be there to buy it and play it. The next one is Visage. Not sure how to pronounce that. This game is going to be one of the best horror games to come out by an indie developer probably ever. When PT or Silent Hills was canceled, left a huge hole in the horror video game community and the industry. I mean, everyone was looking forward to this game. The amount of buzz that PT generated for Silent Hills just from that short teaser trailer is still ongoing today. You can still find the crazy YouTube videos, and there's PS4s being sold on eBay for ridiculous amounts of money that have PT installed because you can't download it anymore. PT forever changed the video game industry in relation to horror games for the better, I think. But the fact that it was canceled was a huge letdown and kind of heartbreaking for a lot of people. But the developers, Sad Square Studio, they're an independent developer who are creating Visage, and this game looks to be kind of the thing that we were looking for. It kind of feels like a full-fledged PT game, even though it's not exactly the same. You don't have like the same corridor with various changes and stuff like that. It has its own original story, but it takes place in a first-person mode with the realistic graphics that PT had as well. So I'm very much looking forward to it. Hopefully it lives up to the hype and it doesn't end up being another Agony. That game was agonizing. Yeah, that's... Oh, there's one more game. One more game that's an honorable mention, which is Battletoads. I have no idea when that game's coming out, just like Streets of Rage 4. I just know that it is coming out. But Battletoads, that came out of nowhere as well, didn't it? So we have Streets of Rage 4 and Battletoads. Battletoads, the new one, could come out next year, could come out 2 years from now, who knows? But all we do know is that it will be a Battletoads game, and all the graphics are going to be hand-drawn. So it's going to have hand-drawn sprites instead of 3D character models using like Unreal Engine 4 or something like that. So I am looking forward to it. I don't know anything about it besides that, but it's Battletoads, so it can't be bad, right? Anyways, that's all I got. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe if you are new to this channel. I've got lots of stuff planned. We have the 5-year anniversary for Xbox coming up, Xbox One, and of course Shenmue 3 coming out next year. We got Trials Rising. Man, Trials Rising is gonna be so good. I cannot even begin to describe how excited I am about that game. And there's going to be a lot of new content for this channel for all the games that I've listed on this list. So keep an eye out. And thanks for watching. See ya.